And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the alien spaceship alien spaceship stream. You could be watching from anywhere around the country or the world. You could be anywhere in the galaxy, coming to you from a galaxy far, far away from the spaceship studios. We are going to be talking about the verdict with Lori Vallow Daybell, and some other trial stuff that's going on, and playing the game as we usually do. All right, I'm switching over some things so everybody can see me. All right, it should be going good. Okay. All right, here I am. It's me, Alien Spaceship. Hello. And we've been having some pretty good lives this week, so I'll be playing the game, a little bit in the beginning while I talk about these things, and then I will be going into the different articles and things like that as people may come through, or people might see this as a rerun, or however they choose to view it. And yeah, so today Lori Vallow Daybell was found guilty, and Gloria was right. It took a little over 2 hours. It was 2 hours and like 20 minutes or something like that for them to reach a verdict. Shout out to her. Very good guess. And I would assume it would take about a few hours, no precise number. But I was also thinking that usually we'll say that and it'll take a day or two, but this was pretty obvious. And she was already convicted, and it's pretty clear as day what she did. So it sounds about right what she said. And shout out to her for getting it right. And also, we have some chat messages. We have Dwayne who says, well, we'll start with Mary Toodles first. We'll say, alien spaceship is taking over the airwaves. Scared. To infinity and beyond. Yeah, shout out to Buzz Lightyear. And Dwayne says, hi, alien spaceship. I'm at the airport picking up Sharon. Take care. And you have a great live this eve. All right. Well, thanks, Wayne. Hope you and Sharon have a good evening. And shout out to y'all. Looking forward to chatting with y'all on the different streams and the different videos and shorts. I really am glad that y'all are with us on the spaceship. So now what I'm going to do is get the game up and play that while I talk about different things as people come through, and I may repeat topics as we go through the stream for people that may be coming through. And all right, so here we go. We're going to launch the game. Okay, so here we go. All right, game is launching. Hello, Bill Fisher. Good to see you, buddy. I'm glad you came to the channel. Hey, brother, you've got a new subscriber. Lori wasn't very excited, was she? No, she was not excited. No, bro, she was not excited at all. She was just no emotion, as she always is. That's all it is to her, no emotion at all. And she was not a happy camper, but she couldn't really do anything about it. And she didn't object to the aggravating charges, the charges of aggravation, which was these that the judge could oppose upon her for any kind of misconduct throughout time, and she didn't have any objection to it. I guess she doesn't really care at this point because she isn't really she's not getting out anytime soon anyway. So yeah, certainly was a crazy day today. And yeah, not amused at all. She, no emotion to her. It was hilarious. No freakouts or anything, just no emotion. Hello, Duke. Thanks for emailing me, buddy. And very cool email. And Rebel, Lori was found guilty because he may have cut him off, but he's going to come back and say what he's going to say. All right, the game is loading. It's taking a moment to boot up, and All right, so we're gonna give you the wrench as all of our my close friends on YouTube that I know of. I give them the wrench when they come through. All right, so okay, so as I said, game is loading. We'll see how that goes. George is here. Oh, it crashed. Scared. Okay, everybody. Well, the stream, not the stream, but the game crashed. So it looks like we're not going to be doing that. Well, no, the game's back. The game is back. Okay, it's back on. Okay, so Zero, the game's back on. Yay. All right, so thankfully the game is back live. This is the Legend of the Pirates of the Caribbean Online, the Legend of the Pirates of the Caribbean Online, and this is based off of Jack Sparrow, Captain Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp's character from that movie franchise. Disney took the original game down, but fans recreated the game. So I played both versions. You're welcome, Zero. Sometimes I'm right, and I cherish those moments. But the game crashed and it came back. But for a moment, it wasn't. It was having a problem there for a second. Another thing that occurred today was the Karen Reed trial, and there seems to be a chat civil war over Karen Reed's case because it seems like for both sides there are different opinions about it, and it's really, to me, it seems like 50-50. It could be either way, but as I said, just when it's one of those things where it could be one or the other. Like, you could have a good argument for either one. It burped really hard. Yeah, yeah. I've been playing. There's times where I've played the game, and the game will go and crash when I had a tons of plunder on there, and Lisa, the guild master, was telling me it happens to her too. Oh, I'm joked out. Steve says I'm on whichever side of the war thing wants to keep slaves. I'm joked out. I'm joked out. Hey, Steve, glad you're here. So, yeah, so basically, I'm glad that you're in the stream. Yeah, so you're on the side that wants to keep slaves. All right. Scared. Oh, I did that by accident. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So, Steve, today I was watching the Lori Daybell trial, and after 2 hours, as Gloria predicted, Lori Vallow Daybell was found guilty. And people were thinking the verdict would be sooner. Some thought it would be later. And it was a really wild time. And it would chat. So we were waiting for a while, and Joyce was listening to some music, and I was listening to some music and getting some stuff off the porch. And I was in the chat, and all of a sudden, you have this situation happen where, like an hour or two later, it they came up with a verdict. It was like a shock. It was like we saw it coming, but it's still a shocker. And she was found guilty and she was completely no emotion to her. No emotion. And chat was on fire. Chat was so enthused. Chat was hysterical in a positive way, and they were able to. They're very pumped up and excited for the verdict. So that was really cool for the. We were glad that justice was being served. We all thought it was going to be guilty. We knew it was going to be guilty. Steve said, "I sup, Duke. I saw you and Tim Cast roasting Beanie Boy." Hilarious. All right, we're gonna go somewhere, and I know that doesn't make any sense. We're gonna go to the volcano area. Scared. Except for a few trolls. Yeah, there were some trolls. We could PV each other. Now, you mean we could battle each other? Oh, like, say if one ship is like, you could go on sail from the French side, and I'll go to the Spanish island, and we could do like a battle there against each other if you were interested in that. There's a way we could do like other combat too, but I have to like go and look about how that works. There's like some sort of setting for that, but yeah, we'd have to go. You go to like France, and I'll go to Spain or something like that, and we could go and do a battle. Now, if that's what you're talking about, that's explainable, but I don't know what you mean exactly. The chat is, which I'm not too sure what you mean exactly about PV, but if you mean like the battle, sure, I think that would be pretty cool. I don't think they'd mind you on one side and me on the other side battling each other. I think it's okay. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Scared. Hilarious. Yeah. Uh-oh, it's gonna get right in the back. Ooh. Goodbye. Goodbye. How about that? All right. Yeah, sure, sure. We would do that. Yeah. Let's see. I'll go to Spain. You go to France. You go to okay. I'm gonna go to the Spanish island, and you could go to the French island. Now, I'm gonna dock over here, and you go sail to the French or the Spanish one, and I'll go to the other. Let's see. And remember, our ships will not retain any damage, so it's okay if one of us sinks. It won't. It won't like you don't have to repair it. Hey, alien, Aruba, Jamaica. Oh, I want to take you. I like those verses. All right, so I'm gonna go to the Spanish one, And so Zero and I are gonna have a battle. Alrighty. It's a good way to let off steam. Look at this. It's all keen. All right. Go to the. I'll go to the Spanish one. All right. All right. Now sailing. Now my ship is a Spanish ship. Okay. All right. So this is the Spanish version of the ship. Yeah, and with Karen Reed, it just so some arguments to say she's guilty is that she was going to she was going to go and say she admitted allegedly to doing the attack. I mean, doing the murder, and she called her father right afterwards. And all right, so now Zero and I are going to be battling each other. All right, there he is. And also there's a large conspiracy. Some people have some different thoughts about it, and that is what we were doing. That basically we, so that's argument about her being guilty, and like who else would have hit her? Now there's a conspiracy about where she was from exactly. No, not where she was from. Where that the police force was was corrupted, and that she was framed. So the police force could be still corrupted without her being framed. I'm getting T0. Just have to uh, get my Timu self over there, and let's see how this goes. As I said, we did not have to repair any ships. We automatically just come back. Nothing to lose here. Alright, let's see how this goes. Okay. Alright. So, and some people are really passionate about Karen Reed, and people are really feeling that she didn't do it. Some people said she did do it, and some of the witnesses, in my opinion, were kind of goofy today. and basically, like one of them seemed kind of dorky. He was saying like he did recall what he said, but he clearly said something, and I think that it's absolutely cringe where you have people that are like trying to talk about a double standard like that, and but as I said, it's up to the person. They may not completely recall, but I think that a lot of it is lies. All right, going this way. Kimberly Sullivan had her pre-trial today. Oh, okay. Thank you. I didn't know that. Thank you. Yeah, there is nothing else on trial chat today. All right, Zero. You'll come back. Yes, absolutely, Zero. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. This is cool. I like this feature. I used to play this all the time, and I was a very high ranking on this in this level. Okay, you also be blessed, Eugene, and thank you for the shout out. The lawyer told JLR to get a life. Hilarious, hilarious. Yes, round two, round two. Scared. Yeah, and so there's arguments for Karen Reed being innocent, and also the police could still be corrupted, but Karen Reed could still be guilty. The main thought is that Karen Reed was most likely maybe done it by accident, but it's still kind of hard to prove either way about if it's really she did it without without the shadow of a doubt. It's really difficult to tell either way. Scared. I'm about to go down. Scared. All right. Hello, Aaron. Great to see you, friend. Yes. Zero is able to take me down. Yes. Yeah, Aaron. So I was talking about the verdict today and Karen Reed. That was epic. Yeah, shout out to Aaron, cool people. Yeah, so basically today, uh, hello, Breeze. Good evening. Yeah, facts, facts. Yeah, the verdict was great. Yeah, verdict was good, definitely, definitely. All right, all right. So Breeze and Aaron today in chat was very cool, where we were talking about the verdict. It's time for the tiebreaker. Yes. I like this. And shout out to Gloria, who accurately predicted when the verdict would end. Awesome. Glad to have her on the spaceship. All right, so basically, with the verdict, I think. All right, understood. Zero, understood. Yes, yes, yes. I'm not going to do anything, Zero, until you're ready. I'm just going to sail around. Yeah, whoop, whoop, yeah. So basically, yeah, so it was a great verdict. So there's Lori Vallow Daybell, and everybody was absolutely certain what the verdict would be. And it was so cool to be with chat, and it was 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. And basically, with that situation that happened, oh, shout out to Matt, scared. And so what happened was in the trial of we're waiting, and we didn't know when the jury would come back. Some people were listening to music. Some people were, and also it's a Lori Dumbbell. That's what she is. She's a dumbbell from Timu, and we all could see the lies. She's transparent. You could just call her see through. Or call an ambulance. Wee woo. And also, it was so. No, there's no jury questions or anything. It was really. I missed. I missed. I'm having my Timu skills right now. And you had with. So that's what happened, and then the jury came back. So we had Kathy Roos, the director of Law and Crime, and also the top mod, uh, one of the greatest mods on the internets, on the interwebs, Alexandra McDonald. We'll just call it Alexandria, and and they're there giving us updates full like in real time. There's a 5 minute delay this time, and then what happened was with the 5 minute delay, we thought people would be confused. And so what happened was people were not as confused as they were last time. And so basically, we're waiting for a little bit, and the judge eventually came back in with the information that was needed for the jurors to come back. And awesome, and Zero wins the tiebreaker. So he won two, and I won one. So shout out to Zero, very well done. Now we're gonna go and have another round. I like this. All right, so congratulations to Zero for winning the tiebreaker between the pirate. So Zero and I are doing a pirate battle, and between Spain and France, and he did great. He did a 2 out of whatever it is. So he won the tiebreaker. Awesome, congratulations. All right. So let's see what chat's saying. So Breeze, if you keep laughing at my jokes, I'll keep making them to everyone's pearl. Aaron, Lori is beyond delusional, thinking people can't see through her lies. And Aaron says, so crazy to hear from jurors at what point they thought she was guilty. They said she smiled a lot, serious times, and was a fool. Absolutely was a complete fool. I watched some streaming of jurors being interviewed by Kay Spoke after Too Bittersweet. Ah, okay. Rebel, okay. Okay, so I'm all caught up. I'm going back to wherever he is, if he's still out there. If he may have to make a repair or something. I'll just be sailing around. And Rebel says she's going to represent herself again in the next trial too. She never learns. That is true, Rebel. She never learns. She is a Timu. She has a fool for a Timu climate. Not a climate, but a client. We're on timeout. Well, what's that supposed to mean? I don't. Okay, yes, yes, we're on timeout. I understand. Okay, understood. Understood. We will resume whenever you're ready, sir. Yeah, I am Johnny on the spot. Yeah, there you go. I'm like Instapot. I work under pressure. Ah, bars. Oh, got some good crack sprees. You just gotta wait for them. Oh yeah, Steve, a kerfuffle's hilarious. Uh, I'm a sorry. It's a me, a Mario. That's what he likes to say. Hilarious. Oh no, no Zero, no Steve. Him and I are playing a game, and he is France and I'm Spain, and we're having so rather than him and I on the same side, him and I are having a battle. So basically, we're having a pirate battle right now, but it's between him and myself, rather than us on the same side. Mom, spaghetti. I'm nervous. Yeah. All right, let's go. Let's do this. This reminds me of jousting. Same. I went down a rabbit hole of the lunatic. She's not even human to me. What does she want? Be seen as human crap fooled me. Exactly, absolutely. Oh, looks like somebody else sunk him. All right. All right, we got well, someone on my so another person, another pirate that's a privateer for Spain is on my side against him. But as I said, so Zero, there's another person that's going to be attacking your ship. That's not me. Okay. All right. Exactly. You got tag teamed. Yeah. Scared. All right, we got some more. Now I'm about to sink. My ship's about to sink, but I don't mind this. This is really cool. Yeah. So Aaron, so today the chat was extremely of excited, and we knew it was gonna be guilty, but we were still excited about it. Ah, there I go. I go down, down, down. All right, Zero. Understood. Yeah, go get him. And if you wanted me to join you on your side and join on your ship as a cannon, I'll be glad to. But for now, we're doing it. We'll do it like this. But so okay, we're going over. Let's go sink the friendship. All right, Nate Eaton. Oh yeah, we're talking about Karen Reed too. We're talking about her too. All right, all right. I'll join your side. All right. We'll fight them together. All right, so gonna go to the cannons. I'm not too sure which side to go with the cannons, but here we go. Yeah, I'm not quite sure which side the cannon. Maybe he got scared, Zero. Maybe he got scared. Scared. Nate Eaton is going to have some guests on his show to talk about the trial tonight on East Idaho News YouTube. He's going to show some interviews with jury members after the verdict today. That's very cool. That's very cool. I don't know anything about Karen Reed. I know people are emotional about it. All right, so with Karen Reed. So Karen Reed is this woman that allegedly hit her boyfriend with a vehicle. And all right, if you want me to steer, I could steer. Okay, we'll switch. All right. So, Karen Reed is this woman that hit her boyfriend with a vehicle allegedly, and she had to, and there's a big divide. So some people believe that her entire case was fabricated and she was framed. So by her being framed, she was able to, have this issue where she got arrested, and that the police over there are very corrupted. So she could be still guilty and be corrupted. But what happened was with her being so she allegedly admitted to doing the problem. She allegedly admitted to it. And also another problem that she did was that with the problem that she caused, she, admitting to a crime is not good. So, but also there's a thing where there's a lack of evidence in the situation. They still got us. And then you have a divide in the chat room. So in the chat, there is this problem where people think that she was guilty and they don't like anything from her defense. You have this other side that thinks that she is completely guilty, and there's no doubt about it. So you have this divide going on about who is guilty and who is, innocent, and the chat fights each other and does all kinds of things about it, and it's extremely disturbing. All right, we'll go on my ship. Yeah, sure. So we're just going to turn back around and launch it. Yeah, we'll switch. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, you launch the bigger ship. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. All right. I was annoyed by the judge, though. Very unprofessional, very clear on her position. Yeah, showing bias is extremely wrong. Yeah, you disagree with me, you're the enemy. Exactly. It's so unfortunate when people do that. And also, Aaron said that's putting it lightly. I never watched the first trying to be unbiased. And Rebel says, I'll check it out. It was watching Lori from Hidden Crime and Nate's. All right. So I'll go over there. I'm going right now. All right. Board. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I think it'll. I thought he got out on bail, but there's still a trial going on. We'll have to see how it goes. And also another thing that occurred was, yeah, but if there is a case that starts, it'll be crazy. Remember, okay, there is this story where this kid was in a tent, and this black kid, and there's this white kid, as some like to say, and he got stabbed. So the kid said, "Push me again and see what happens." And it was raining, and he was under the wrong tent, and he pushed them, and he saw, and then he got stabbed in the heart. And there's this big racial debate about it. Like, it was a black person and hurting a white person, and then there's these other conflicts that occur. All right. And they knocked it. These people doing pretty good. Right? Yeah, you could repair it. Well, haven't heard of it, but until the trial, I'll keep my eyes peeled for it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, they're doing pretty good on their side. I have to go out a little bit more. So zero, what we're gonna have to do is you have to create a bigger distance. All right, Aaron. A good night to you, and I'm glad that you liked the trial that we were watching. I'm glad that you liked the trial. Right, right. I understand. I understand. And I'm glad we liked the Lori Daybell verdict. That was very great to see that justice was served. All right, that was funny. That was funny. All right, we'll be doing this as long as you want to do it, Zero. If you want to stop it, we can. I'm trying to feel this out. And yeah, so with Lori Vallow Daybell was found guilty, and that was very good to see. I like that. We all had a great time, and the chat was wild. All right. Yeah, I know, like people are just trying to have fun, and you have these other people causing problems. Yeah, it was a very gay old time. Yes, with emphasis on the gay. It was a race thing. Exactly. All right, because sometimes when I'm turning the ship, it will kind of do that. All right. Hello, hello, Shecky. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, I know, Rebel. It's just people, deep in their emotions. And they don't have any kind of logic to them. Yeah, definitely. Hello, Moki. We're talking about the Lori Vallow verdict and how it was exciting. They're all getting up on it now. The Lori Vallow was a very exciting one. And we were waiting for and 2 hours later, they finally came back as guilty. Yeah, tribalism. Yeah. All right. Now, yeah, all hail Moki. Yes. Moki says, I can't believe the family would want to go through a third trial. All right. Exactly, Zero. Nobody was doing it until we started doing it. Yeah. I know. I know. We're like setting trends. Now, it's possible to do. I don't know if the smaller ship would be more easy to maneuver that you had. I think it'd be easier to maneuver the smaller ship. But either way, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. All right. Exactly. I've looked at the RFK files. Hello, Alan. Good to see you. Yeah. All right. And so with Lori Val Daybell was found guilty today. Joyce has not been here yet. No. Yeah. So, and she was found guilty, and everybody was glad to see that. And they hit us right there. You were surprised, so I'm glad to surprise you. Right, right. Now, as I said, you could launch the smaller ship. I would want to try a smaller ship again. I think that would be easier to maneuver. But either way, it's going to be a cooked situation, right? All right. Hello, Silver. Good to see you. Yeah. So Karen Reed was found. Not Karen Reed, but we could talk about Karen Reed because that's a very controversial one between both sides. We don't know which one is. Some people think guilty, some people think innocent. It's an interesting conflict going on. Oh, this is the French. This is the French side. It's a French word. All right, let's see how this goes. A little bit easier to maneuver. But like the Titanic, it's too big to move around. Ah, they got us before we could even sail. There are fine people on both sides in this case because there's people on both sides that have a good position. But there are people attacking each other is not right. Oh yeah, we heard about that. We heard about the interview with a couple of them after the trial. We heard about that. All right, you can get your food. Understood. All right. Yeah, and yeah, because basically, the jurors, you had a situation where some of them. All right, then we went back down, and one of them commented how Lori was sitting in her interview at the police station. All right, all right, and people were surprised that they wanted another trial. You know, let's see. Now, here's the thing: those people have a full crew, and we don't have a full crew on here with the certain abilities. If we had a couple of other people on our side, we would do better off, I think. And yeah, so Lori Vallow Daybell found guilty, and she rejected. If I'm getting the term wrong, a chat could correct me, but she rejected the aggravations charges, the aggravations that she didn't oppose to them, and the judge would just go and judge that on his own. So that was something interesting to see that chat didn't see before. All right. All right, they got mad when I knocked them. All right. She agreed to the aggravation factor. Yes, I remember that. I remember that. She agrees to the aggravations factor. She didn't object to it. Right. They said Lori kept smiling at them and her demeanor was off putting. Yeah, that is something that they were saying, Moki, that Aaron was here earlier. That's what she also said. And Zero, anytime you want to stop this, it's, we could stop it whenever you're ready. Oh, it looks like, look, I'm floating. The game glitched, and my pirate is floating in midair. Well, this is some craziness. Look at that. You see, everybody, this is when a game is glitching. And she looked like she wasn't bothered. Yeah, she had no motion to her. Look at this. It's not supposed to be doing this. Try to go teleport to where he is. I'm upside down. Oh, I'm upside up again. Right. And yeah, so she's smiling. She's off-putting. Also, her voice is creepy. Her voice is like real superficial. All right, Moki. Good night to you. See you tomorrow. All right. All right, Zero. We were just trying to have some fun and have a match, but all these other goofs had to go and join in. So, Creonge. Oh, you went to get food and got bumped. He came back online. Yeah, so, and with Lori Vallow, they were completely cringing about the situation where the jurors were cringing, and Silver said, Moki, they also said they were waiting for her to make a point on why her and Alex Tylee were tested for gunshot residue. Ah, and she didn't. She was being a fool. Very interesting. All right. Yeah, I had a teacher named Lori that was trouble. So, that is true. But there's some cool Loris out there. Uh, Smoking Skin, there's a cool Lori, and there's also some other cool Loris out there. Was not close enough to attack. Watching a Family Guy episode where Peter becomes a Justin. Oh, scared. Yeah, awesome, awesome. They learned about the kids after they left the court. They said they going to watch Netflix documentary. Ah, hilarious, hilarious. Getting a trial tattoo, long beard and jean wrangler. All right. Yeah, hello, hello, Duke. Good to see you. A little bit. Come on, ship. It's going the wrong way. All right, they're roasting it. All right, that's good. All attacking the other ship. Yeah, thank you, Zero, for the intelligence. All right, going this way. You see, Zero, that's called teamwork. Right there. We went and sunk them. With teamwork. Jade. Hello. TJ, hello there. We, with teamwork, we got it. Yeah, so it was a great verdict today with the Lori Daybell trial. It was something very nice to see. And they went and tag teamed us, but we'll go right back there. Yeah, and also, so it was a great verdict today. Lori Vallow found guilty, and also, she was known to be smiling and being creepy. They weren't exactly sure about the relationship with between, like why was Ty Lee and the other one test it for gun residue, and she had no emotional reaction to it, and they didn't know about the kids until later. So yeah, she should have, as I said, always try your best because you never know. No, Zero. We sunk a ship with a group of other ships. That's what I was saying. We were able to take it down with the other team. The battle is won or lost in the mind, I think. And this is a good learning experience to see how these types of ships work and what to do with them. All right, and they got us that time. And as I said, Zero, if you don't want to do this, we could stop it if you want. It's up to you. That's funny, Alan. That's funny. Now, at some point, I'm going to read the article about Karen Reed. I mean, about the trial that we just watched. So I will be stopping the game at some point. But Zero, I'm glad that we learned a lot from this about some new ways of fighting on the seas. And remember, they have a full crew, because they could not compete with us one on one. You know how we compete with each other one on one? They have to have a whole team of people to go against us. Today was a good guilty day for court. Absolutely, that's so true. She did more damage to herself by asking the jurors to view her entire interview during the deliberation. Their comment was funny. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So Zero, we had a full crew, we would do better. Okay, we could switch side and use your ship. Now you mean join the Spanish side? Sure. We could go over to the Spanish area and use our ship. Or if you want to, did you mean you want to switch to the other side? It's up to you. Um, we can. How about this? We'll go. Yeah. So I don't quite understand. You want to use my ship on the Spanish side? Is that what you meant? All right. We'll go to the Spanish side. All right. Where is it? Okay. All right. Let's go. Alan said, I thought that Alan Jackson's opening statement was cosmic. He threw it down and put the burden wholly on the prosecution. Exactly. Yeah, that was awesome. I thought he was very, he was very, charismatic about it, definitely. But there's people that think that he was, innocent. I mean, think that Karen Reed is still guilty. People that think vice versa. Alrighty. All right, so we're going to land here, and yeah, great. Lori Vallow was defeated today. Justice was served. All right, and as I said, she showed no emotion, and she didn't really care at all. It was quite intriguing. It was a master class of defense strategies. All right, I did not see that coming. Okay. Defense has no burden of proof at all. Right, that's what I thought. The whole burden on the prosecution. Jackson making that clear to his opening statement. The CW probably crying right now, trying to do damage control. Oh yeah, because I was thinking like what Capri Law taught me, and there I was talking to myself. I'm like, there's no burden of proof, and thank you, Alan, for confirming that. Yeah, no burden of proof. If she did it or not, like it's not there. And there we go. Well, it looks like that group switched to the other side, I guess. Anyway. Yeah, because you see, these people, they have a full crew right there. Alright. Alright. How are they saying that the injuries has an arm happened? Like, how did the car hit him? Is that what she means? Is that what, um, wait, is that what TJ means? I meant, how are they saying that injuries on his arms happened? Like, how did they do that? How did the car do that? Yeah, I know. It looks like a dog bite. It looks like dog scratches. Unless it ripped he some part of the vehicle ripped something in little pieces. I'm not entirely certain about like I'm not a doctor, but it looks like a dog did it, but or some sort of part of the vehicle could have like he could have fell like when he got hit and it shredded him. So that is another possibility also. All right. Scared. Exactly, exactly. All right. All right. All right. We got them down. Go this way. Timu attack I just did and I missed. Let's go out a little bit more. And that didn't work. The biased judge, Auntie Beveridge, showed her hand. She allowed the prosecution to talk about the accident, reconstruction experts, but did not allow defense to ARCCA. Oh, Zero, I didn't know you were repairing it. I wouldn't have engaged in combat like that if I had known you were repairing it. As I said, if we had a full crew, we would definitely win. Better. Okay, going forward. All right, it went down. Yeah, because that's what situations with Karen Reed that I don't quite understand. I missed it. Okay. Alan, this is where you're supposed to talk about court. I play the game and talk about the court cases at the same time. It's a place for that. That's what I wanted you to do. So you're not doing anything wrong. If you like, read the title of the video. It's trials and gaming. It's okay. It's okay. Right. So yeah, with Karen Reed, so that's some information about that, and then there's gonna be another trial for Daybell coming up, and the sentencing won't happen until much later. Yes, I'm glad you like hearing about the court cases because I play the game and I talk about it at the same time. I do both. Now, also, all right, I'm going to talk about the. I'm going to go to the article about the trial today, and we're gonna. Although I was talking about the trials and doing the game, I also. All right, let's go. Let's teleport. No, we could just. Yeah, so we're going to another part of the stream where I talk about. I'm going to read the articles about the trial news, but as I said the whole time, I talk about the trial stuff. Thank you, Zero. Thank you. As I said, I have to do another part of my stream anyway. It's all right. All right, so now we're going to bring up the article about the trial news today. Also, so in conjunction about what we're talking about before. All right. All right, shout out to the spaceship cats. All right. So let's go to the Lori Vallow. All right. All right. So Doomsday Mom found guilty in Arizona trial transformer. Unlike North of the Valley nightly roundup. Let's see. All right. From the verdict in the Lori Vallow murder trial, conspiracy trial, and an institution that gets a bit attention in the Valley. Is this what I'm trying to look at? That's not what I meant to. That's interesting, but I'm trying to look at this other thing. What's this one? Yeah, but you see the yeah. So basically, that's what we usually do here. Is that I play the game and in the chat, I talk about that at the same time. I don't know if that makes any sense, but so basically, the jurors and the trial afterwards, they're saying that Lori seemed very. During the trial, she was laughing and smiling and acting unsettling, and not acting emotionally correctly, and basically they're wondering about why she had this. Her entirely was tested for gun residue, and they didn't know about the kids until later after the trial, and so that is to kind of sum it up. So basically, we have Kathy Rusin, and she was in the courtroom, and there is a little bit of a 5 minute delay, and they're telling us what was happening. About 2 hours later, the chat was going wild, and she was finally found, guilty of this other incident. And I'm going to read more about it right now to sum it up for everybody. All right. Doomsday Mom Lori Vallow Daybell was convicted Tuesday in Arizona of conspiring to delete her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, a micro a Micropica County Superior Court jury found Vallow Daybell guilty of conspiracy to commit first degree murder in July 2019 in the fatal shooting. Charles Vallow's brother, Gary Vallow, said afterward that the verdict brought him some solace. Quote, "It was relief, a long journey, and I'm just glad it's over with." He said, today's a good day, we won. It was, quote, "It was a relief, a long journey, and I'm just glad it's over with." He said, "Today's good day, we won." Sister Kay Woodcock, also speaking outside of the Phoenix courthouse, said, "We gotcha. She'll be rotting in prison where she deserves to be." Lori Vallow will be representing herself at trial today. Jurors and her brother Alex Cox shot Charles Vallow in self-defense following the family argument. Cox died later that year from a pulmonary embolism and was never charged. According to Vallow Daybell, her husband got into an argument with her daughter, Tylee Ryan, and threatened to the teen with a bat. Charles Vallow was at the estranged wife's home in Chandler, Arizona, to take their son Josh J.J. Vallow to school. Vallow Daybell, 51, was convicted in the Idaho 2023 killing of her two children and her husband of the first wife, Tammy Daybell, and she already was serving life in prison without possibility of parole. And TJ, I don't take any offense. I was just saying that the whole time when I'm playing the game, I'm talking about the trial at the same time. But I understand you weren't here a little bit earlier when we were talking about it, about some other stuff. So uh, that is the position. All right. Prosecutors in Arizona case dismissed Lori Vallow Daybell's self-defense claim, arguing she had several reasons for her wanting the husband dead, including her desire to start a life with another man. Lori Vallow wanted to be Lori Daybell's wife of Chad Daybell, and in July of 2019, Lori Vallow wanted to keep the same lifestyle that she had with Charles, and she could get all of this if Charles was deleted. Prosecutor Trina Kay said in her opening statements, Kay continued, she could marry Chad Daybell and become Lori Daybell. She would get $1 million life insurance policy from Charles Vallow. She would get Social Security for herself and their son JJ as a child of a deleted spouse. And all of this would be true if Charles Vallow was deleted. The prosecutor added that Vallow Daybell labeled people who disagreed with her as dark or possessed by evil spirits and used religion to justify Charles Vallow's deletion. Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell, a doomsday author, married in November 2019. In her closing argument on Monday, Vallow Daybell said prosecutors tried to retrofit a crime that doesn't exist. Under Arizona law, I had the right to self defense. Tylee had the right to self defense. Alex had the right to self defense. This event was planned or expected. It was shocking, she said. This event was not a crime, it was a tragedy. Don't let them turn my family tragedy into a crime. During Vallow Daybell's trial, the jury heard from the medical examiner who testified that Charles Vallow could have been lying on some firm surface like a floor when he was shot. The fatal shot went through his heart, medical examiner Derek Bumgarner said. Adam Cox told the court that he had no doubt his sister conspired with their brother to delete Charles Vallow. He testified that before the shooting, Vallow Daybell had been making odd religious comments and that Charles Vallow wanted to hold an intervention to address it. Other testimony included that of Chandler police officer Cassandra Younglin, who was at the court on Vallow Daybell, seemed very kind and ordinary and kind of nonchalant the day of her husband's deletion. Another thing that I do the game is that people don't come here right away. So it gives people time to get here. Because if I were to talk about it too early, you would have missed it. Anyway, the state rested its case last week. Vallow Daybell rested without presenting any evidence or calling any witnesses. Juror Victoria Lewis told NBC affiliate KPNX of Phoenix that lies from the defense were revealed as the trial went on and Vallow Daybell appeared unserious. Her role has her own counsel factors that weighed on Lewis' decision. Quote, many days she just was like smiling and laughing and didn't seem to take anything very seriously, Lewis said outside of the courthouse. Sentencing in the criminal cases usually take place about 30 days from the date of the verdict. KPNX reported that sentencing will be delayed until after a separate case against Valo Daybell is completed. In the case of Valo Daybell, is charged with conspiring to delete Brandon Boudreaux, her niece's estranged husband, and judge noted that could complicate the calendar. He ordered a status update for mid-May. Valo Daybell faces the possibility of life beyond bars following Tuesday's verdict. All right, so that's the update about how this trial ended, and the jurors were uncomfortable by Lori Vallow, and they thought that she was cringe, and they didn't have certain questions answered from her about her and her child, her and Tylee, and basically that is how that worked out. And so even the jurors didn't like her and saw the nonsense that she was talking about. And she has another trial coming up about another murder that happened. And now we'll talk briefly about Karen Reed. All right. All right, here we go. Going to the Reed trial opening. Prosecutors claim Karen Reed clipped her cop boyfriend. She insists she is being framed. All right. On January 29, 2022, John O'Keefe was found unresponsive in the snow. I hit him, Karen Reed proclaimed as paramedics desperately tried to save his life. Prosecutors say the state spent most of Tuesday detailing its allegations that Reed murdered her cop boyfriend in a fit of rage. It's an argument they tried before. They are now trying again. Reed, however, maintains it's a vast conspiracy and she is being framed. The accused murderer turned true crime star was backed in the court after the start of her retrial on the second degree murder, motor vehicular manslaughter, and leaving the scene of a collision causing the death charges. Reed's first trial resulted in a mistrial, and now her second trial is expected to last 6 to 8 weeks. Opening statements began Tuesday morning with both prosecution and defense vowing to use factors science and data to prove their case. TJ, if you have any thoughts on the Karen Reed case, if you haven't said it, well, yeah, you said your thoughts on the Karen Reed case. I was just thinking if you had anything else to add to it, I'd be interested to know. Reed's first trial resulted in a mistrial, and now her second trial is expected to last 6 to 8 weeks. Opening statements began Tuesday morning, with both prosecution and defense vowing use facts and science data to prove their cases. The prosecution painted Reed as an angry girlfriend who rammed into her boyfriend after a long night of heavy drinking. The defense claimed Reed had nothing to do with the deletion, and she was framed by others, including law enforcement, who led a corrupt investigation. Allen said in her first trial, the jury found her not guilty on charges 1 and 3, yet she's being tried again for 1 and 3. Yeah, that is strange. That is strange. Yeah. Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan walked through the events on January 29, 2022, for the perspective of a paramedic arriving at a scene to find unresponsive man in the snow bank. He could hear a woman screaming and the blizzard conditions swirling around him. Brennan said paramedic was providing care to a man when he asked the woman who approached Reed whether she knew him. I hit him. I hit him. I hit him. She told the paramedics that the prosecutor told the jury in total. She told 3 first responders that she hit O'Keefe. Brennan argued. O'Keefe got out of the car. He stood by the side of the road after an argument with the defendant. An argument fueled by heavy intoxication. The defendant and her SUV drove away. The prosecutor told the jury after driving 30 feet, Reed pulled her car in neutral. She then put the Lexus in reverse and hit the accelerator about 75% of the full blast. Went backward and at least 75 feet before hitting him. Brennan said during his opening remarks, she clipped John O'Keefe and then she simply drove away. Despite him looking mortally wounded, he told the jury. TJ said, I haven't really followed the Karen Reed case. I've seen a little here and there. Oh, okay. Well, this will give you a breakdown about it. The prosecutor painted the picture of a happy couple who met during COVID. Okay, we kind of call it the coup. We kind of call it code words. The the pandemic that started to fall apart by early 2022. The most of the world, it was pretty good relationship until the beginning of 2022 when things started to unravel. There was tension and arguments days before he died. O'Keefe asked her to leave, but she wouldn't, he said. And also, TJ said, from what I have seen, I'm leaning toward not guilty. I feel like it took I hit him and twisted it, but like I said, am going mostly blind on Karen Reed. Moki thinks guilty because Karen Reed admitted it, and she also thinks still that the police are corrupted there. And as I said, I believe like what Alan was saying, there needs to be a strong evidence and proof that she did it. And maybe she did, maybe she didn't. And as I said, it seemed like a 50-50 situation, but it seems like the burden of proof isn't really there in my opinion. But I could be wrong, but basically, yeah. I just if she did do it, she did it by mistake. I don't think it was intentional. TJ says, "What I have seen is I am learning towards." Okay, I am okay. TJ, I understand your point. Thank you. On the night of January 28, 2022, she was angry and arguing with John O'Keefe before they left for the bar, but she brought the fight back, and from form of her SUV, he said she later left rage-filled messages to O'Keefe's as he was lying in the road. Brennan accused. The prosecutor also mentioned that tail lights of Reed's Lexus has, quote, big pieces missing, and noted that O'Keefe's DNA was found on the back of her car. The late police officer was family man, and he didn't have any biological children of his own, but he helped raise his sister's children, the special prosecutor said. Yes, okay, understood, TJ. Yes. I'm glad that you could also see that position too. They led a good life, Brennan said. Enter Karen Reed. Throughout his opening remarks, Brennan vowed that the case's facts, science, and data will drive the case. Alan Jackson, a defense attorney for Reed, arguing that these very same elements suggest O'Keefe never got in a collision that night. There was no collision with John O'Keefe. He told the jury, the experts will tell you that the prosecution's case is unthird and unconnected to the facts, to the evidence, that their assertion is contrary to science. He argued Jackson read a text exchanging involving Michael Proctor, the lead investigator in the case, discussing Brian Albert, a fellow officer who owned the property where O'Keefe's body was found. Prosecutor was a longtime family friend. All right, it's coming back now. I watched the full first trial. Not guilty. Karen Reed is not being prosecuted. She is being persecuted. I hope I never have to go against a corrupt prosecution. Amen. Yes. Quote, it is the homeowner gonna catch any S blank. Someone texted Proctor. Nope. He's a Boston cop, Proctor replied. That quote defines the lack of integrity around this case. Jackson argued the investigation was riddled with errors from the beginning. It was corrupted by bias, incompetence, and deceit, and a deliberate effort to avoid and cover up the very truth that you are seeking, he told the jury. Despite the sirens and chaos occurring feet from his home, Albert, a sworn peace officer, first responder himself, never came outside. Jackson said Proctor never conducted an investigation in the house on January 29, never properly canvassed the neighborhood or secured crime scene. The defense attorney added, prosecutor wasn't named by the prosecution in their opening statements. I suspect that was by design. Jackson said he's an architect of the prosecution, but he's also their Achilles heel. The defense provided a different context for Reed's angry voicemails. O'Keefe went inside Albert's house and Reed remained in the car. Growing frustrated, Jackson said that's when she left him angry. Voicemails because she thought he was only going to be inside for a few minutes. The medical evidence will establish that he was deleted somewhere else, somewhere warmer, and that his body had been moved to the cold. He argued Jackson further said O'Keefe didn't suffer a single injury on his body consistent with having been hit by a vehicle. They gathered evidence in solo cups, and Proctor was fired and given a dishonorable discharge from the state police. Yikes. Yeah. Ouch. Definitely. Jackson contended that he could have been beaten up inside the home, scratched by Albert's dog, and then his body was moved outside. The defense also mentioned the tail light and disconnected in from O'Keefe's death. Reed struck another car with a tail light that night. Jackson said defense will show a video 5 hours after she dropped off O'Keefe's at Albert's home, capturing the moment her taillight was damaged. The incident reportedly occurred in O'Keefe's driveway. She also never said, "I hit him," Jackson said. Those three words, "I hit him," were the focus of much of the first witness testimony. Timothy Newtall, paramedic and firefighter, who was called to the scene in the wee hours of January 29, 2022, was the first to take the stand. Allen said, "There is so much reasonable doubt in this whole case that it makes me sick that CW brought charges to this case. What a travesty of justice." Yeah, definitely. That's very sick. This corruption is very sick. Those three words, "I hit him," were the focus of much of the first witness testimony. Timothy Nuttall, a paramedic and firefighter who was called to the scene in the wee hours of January 29, 2022, was the first to take the stand. Nuttall also testified in her first trial. There he recalled Reed saying she hit him twice in a row. Now he claims she had hit him 3 times. Allen said there is so much reasonable doubt that this whole case is that, he said CW is not seeking justice, they are seeking a win, and it's disgusting. TJ says, so they never checked inside the house he was at. From what I recall, no. But if I'm wrong about that, Alan can correct me. Does your memory get better with time? Jackson asked, seemingly trying to cast doubt on the memory. Carrie Roberts, a close friend of O'Keefe's, also took on the stand. Reed called her at 5 a.m. On January 29, Carrie, John's dead. Reed yelled to her on the phone before abruptly hanging up. The pair, along with O'Keefe's friend Jennifer McCabe, drove around the blizzard conditions looking for him. Reed, frantic, was hopping between the back seat and sitting between Robert and McCabe as they drove. Robert testified as they approached the Fairview Road. Reed shouted, "There he is." She then started running toward the mound of snow, and she testified, quote, "Once she got to it, you could tell it was a mound of snow that was on the length of the body," Roberts told the jury. All right, so that's a summary about this new case that has been released from Karen Reed. All right. So yeah, so that's basically, and I'll be keeping up with the Karen Reed case as time goes on, and it's a very, this case brings up a lot of emotions in people, and a lot of people are frustrated. You know, like both sides. There's like a civil war going on. So one side is very angry and says that there is a situation where people are like, this is what I'm trying to say. So one group is saying that Karen Reed is not guilty and has evidence and points about it, and one side very strongly thinks she is guilty and is like a Monica Cementelli type person, and she can't go and try to get out of this because it's not going to work because she completely was, you know, guilty of this, and they think she admitted to it and that she knew where the body was. But a lot of these things, as I said, it seems in the direction that it's a not guilty situation, and it is completely ridiculous for people to assume in one way or another. So I think it's good for everybody to get along, even if there are disagreements about what is, if she's guilty or not guilty, and to have a civilized conversation and debate about it, because there's like people have hatred towards each other. But as I said, I am assessing both sides, and my opinion could possibly change. And the witness on the stand today, he seemed kind of like Justice was saying, kind of dorky. He didn't recall what he said last time. Sometimes things are hard to remember, but he didn't recall what he was saying last time, and it's kind of like, come on, man, you know, you know, you probably should recall what you're trying to say here, and it just seems really shady from their end, the state. And another summary about Lori Daybell: the jury didn't like her. She smiled and acted strange, and she didn't really talk about why her and Tylee were tested for the gunpowder soot, and they didn't know about the two kids until after the trial, and they're gonna watch a Netflix series about it. Yeah, and seeing anything from chat that I missed before about Lori Daybell, anything specific? And Lori agreed to the aggravating factors, and her demeanor was off-putting. Silver says more specifically, she looked like she wasn't bothered by the verdict. Let's see, Aaron, say something else if I missed it. Yeah, just basically what I just said. And also, Aaron made a remark about of she thought that she could fool people, and she's got the fourth trial, thinking she could fooling at least one person. So Lori Vallow thought she could fool somebody, but she didn't. She actually turned people off. That's something Lauren was saying. And she said, you know, how so crazy to hear from jurors to the point where they thought that she was guilty. They said she smiled and was serious at times. And what a fool. Yeah, she just... See, when Lori Vallow, the way she acts, similar to how Ted Bundy acted when he was asked certain questions, is that they don't have the emotions like we do, and they're acting, and they're kind of guessing what emotions to feel. So she doesn't have the correct emotions when a certain situation happens because of the dark triad, you know, the sociopathic nature she has, and how she acts a certain inappropriately or acts a certain way because she doesn't know exactly how to feel those emotions, but by reading people she thought it was this way or that way. So with Lori Vallow, nobody was seeing through her lies. Everybody could see it was completely cringe what she was doing. Alan says the CW is making a mockery of our justice system by persecuting someone whom they have no real evidence against. I thought our system of justice was supposed to be fair, but in mass, I guess not. Yeah. TJ says, "Hello, people feel how they feel about the case, and they don't want to hear anything else." She just seemed irritated and mad. Yeah, especially at the end of it. So, Kathy Rusin and Alexandra were saying the verdict was me coming in, and we were excited. We waited for about nearly an hour or a little over an hour, and then they gave us the verdict, and it was guilty. And the chat was wild and excited that Charles finally has justice. I saw G, and she gave, we have our nice exchange of conversation, and everybody was there. It was very great to see that guilty. And then Lori's next trial, we'll see. I also believe will be guilty. And with Karen Reed, as I said, always have like an open mind about it, whatever you think. And I'm viewing it through an open mind, but it seems that it doesn't really seem guilty, or at least enough evidence to say guilty. But it could still be possibly guilty. It's possible still. We have to. Then you have to go and say who hit her exactly. Who was it? Then that you kind of go into a straw man. But then again, it seem like she exactly did it either. But also there's pure evidence of this corruption that's happening. So it seems with Karen Reed, she has a good possibility of being found not guilty, or there's not enough evidence to convict her. Because you could have a situation in a trial where there's somebody that there is not enough evidence to convict them when they did a crime. Like somebody did a crime. There's just not enough evidence to convict them. I'm not saying she's guilty. I don't think she did it on purpose if she even did it. Or I don't think she probably did it at all. She didn't do it at all. Okay, with all this shady stuff going on. But you gotta have the burden of proof, like what pre-law told me. And yeah, see Karen Reed, I was there this morning and seeing it. I was there for when Karen Reed trial was going on. Originally, I was there in the morning. I remember I'd wake up and go and watch it, and I enjoyed seeing everybody early today about it. Yeah. So it's great we have justice with Lori Vallow that she's found guilty, and this trial is ongoing, and it's going to take forever, as Moki said. In prison, Lori Vallow will make big rocks into little rocks, and she wants to be a mentor to people in prison and be a positive force. Good for her. Scared. All right. You were surprised, Alan, yeah. Yeah, I was glad to be there for y'all. You know, and, usually I come in the afternoon, but this time I came in much later. And, hello, Mary. I'm about to wrap it up. And, yeah, so, yeah, and Alan, I'm glad that you enjoyed seeing me there today. I was enjoying seeing y'all there because I was early. And, yeah, today was great with the verdicts, as I said, with the guilty verdict, and also with the Karen Reed. And there's no other trials that I know of that are going on. But I'll as I said, we continuing to be doing the streams about this as days go on. And I do streams because, I like to do them, and also I like the requests to do the stream of the coverage about this. And I love to do this, and I'm honored to do it. And, all right. And since we covered about Lori Vallow, Daybell, and also with the Karen Reed, it's basically we've completed the stream. Scared. And now we'll be, wrapping up and ending it. So when we're switching over here to this screen. Alan said, I can't talk much of the Karen Reed trial because I listened while I work. I wish I could say more, but us working shifts have a job to do. Oh well. Yeah, yeah, that could get in the way of things. But I'm glad that I was able to see you at all earlier, and I appreciate your commentary on it in this stream. And also TJ and the people lurking, I appreciate all of y'all and the people that came in earlier and gave their commentary, and I reread the commentary to y'all in this chat as well. And there are some interviews about the jurors from the Lori Vallow trial that I recommend y'all watch on YouTube. That there is some, see, some groups talking about that. Let's see if I can find it. Nate Eaton had some guests talk about it, so you have that. All right, everybody. So everybody have a good evening. See some of y'all tomorrow at Karen Reed. And that might be the only trial that might be going on tomorrow. So glad that Lori Vallow, that trial is completed. We'll see about the other one that's going to be coming up. But until we see each other again on the stream tomorrow, everybody, peace.